purpose-inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.
All right. What's up, everybody? I am back. Yes, this is 2 days in a row. Yes, I am back for part 2. We're starting to talk about different things, Black History Month, African Americans or Americans of African descent. Different ways you can put it, but I like Americans. African descent. I like that better. Be called Americans. A lot of stuff, a lot of work has been done to build this country for us not to be considered to be Americans. Let me see, sorry, messages came in. Why they got 7-Eleven? Okay, I wanted to kind of was thinking about some stuff we was talking about last night, but our time ran out, so I decided to pick back up where I left off. There's a couple of things. So actually, where should I start? I think I should start. I know, we're starting to do a video about the Jim Crow laws, but I couldn't play the whole thing. So I got this short video to explain some more of the Jim Crow laws. Let me see if I can get that going. Give me just a second here. And come on, computer, you can do it. How was everybody?
Today in the Daily Dose, Jim Crow law.
Back it up. Okay, come over here, present, and share screen. Nope. Entire screen. Go to this one. Here. Come right over here. Okay. Turn this music down. All right. So let's learn a little bit about the Jim Crow laws. I think a lot of people have forgotten about the Jim Crow laws. And then there's actually some states that still have some Jim Crow laws on the books, believe it or not. So here we go, Jim Crow laws. I said, here we go.
Today in the Daily Dose, Jim Crow laws in the segregated South. Named after a black minstrel show character, Jim Crow laws were a collection of mostly Southern state and local statutes that legalized racial segregation, which were implemented shortly after the end of the Civil War and lasted until the civil rights protests and federal legislation of the 1960s. The laws were intended to marginalize African Americans by suppressing their right to vote, limiting their access to good-paying jobs, while excluding access to higher education. Those who attempted to shirk the laws often faced arrest, fines, jail time, violence, and even death. In 1896, the first legal attempt to repeal Jim Crow laws was upheld in the case of Plessy versus Ferguson, in which the U.S. Supreme Court laid out its separate but equal doctrine, affirming racial segregation in public facilities, including the coaches of interstate trains and buses. Facilities for African Americans were routinely inferior and underfunded compared to facilities maintained exclusively for whites. While the laws as a whole institutionalized economic, educational, and social disadvantages for African Americans living in the South, segregation was also adhered to in the U.S. military, while in 1913, Southern Democratic President Woodrow Wilson initiated national segregation policies in federal workplaces. Southern statutes continued to impose poll taxes on Black Americans, attempting to suppress them from voting in local, state, and national elections. In 1954, segregation of state-funded public schools was declared unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court under Chief Justice Earl Warren in the landmark case Brown versus Board of Education. Yet most Southern states dragged their feet for years before integration was finally achieved, against great backlash from white Southerners. In 1964, the Warren Court continued to rule against Jim Crow laws in other cases, such as Heart of Atlanta Motel Inc. versus United States. The last vestiges of Jim Crow laws came to an end when they were overruled by the Civil Rights Act of 1964, followed by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, bringing to an end white America's long and stained history of racial suppression against Black Americans. And there you have it, Jim Crow laws in the segregated South, today on the Daily Dose. If you like learning something new every day, subscribe to the Daily Dose on YouTube or sign up for emails at dailydosenow.com.
Okay, that's a little real quick explanation of the Jim Crow law. So it was the law of the land segregation. The country made it the law for segregation and racism. It was the law. And people of color and white people had to fight to get that law changed. But a lot of the stuff that was implemented is still it's still going on. So that's where, like I hear a lot of people, again, I know I talked about this last night and other times, they are against affirmative action. So you have a country that it was a law of the land of segregation. It was a law of the land, quote unquote, separate but equal. It was the law that even the federal government, where blacks had to be separated from whites, so the whites had the better things, the blacks had the worst. The military was segregated. We know a lot of different stories of the blacks, even the Tuskegee men. They was inferior. They couldn't fight, but they were some of the greatest fighters during the war. I don't know if you remember the movie. Is it Colors? Oh my goodness! Well, I'm just now trying to think of the name of this movie. Where the women of color that helped launch the space shuttle into space. Man, if somebody could tell me the name of that movie. That really tells you how the white men had bathrooms and the typewriters and everything they needed. The black women were smart enough. They needed their help for this mission, but they were kept totally separate. And then they show a scene where the main character had to walk Hidden Figures. Where I get colors from? Hidden Figures. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen that movie, I need to check that movie out. But that really breaks it down and shows you how segregation was set up, and it was normalized. Hey, that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm white. I'm supposed to have things better than people of color. That was the law. And baffles my mind now when people act like they forgot that, or it is a lot of younger people that still don't know anything about um, the laws that was here in our country, or a lot of people try to teach that it didn't happen, or people should just get over it when it's still enrooted. It's still there. Just because they took the signs down, saying colors only and white only, just because they took that down doesn't mean the mindset changed. And a lot of this stuff is recent. Uh, the civil rights movement was in the 60s. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a long time ago. Yes, I just turned 54. So I mean, I was born in the early 70s. So just a couple of years before I was born, less than 10 years before I was born, um, this segregation was going on. It was legal to have black only signs, white only signs. That was 10 years before I was born. So this is not that long ago. And the civil rights, like even the right to vote, was in 65, 1965. This is this recent history. And a lot of trying to get basic rights, civil rights, human rights was in the early 60s, and still people fighting all the way into present day. And now, present day, a lot of these things, the blood, sweat, I don't even want to show the videos of what they did to our people by water hoses, taking, different cities and mayors telling the fire department to cut the water hose. I'm talking about it's powerful. There's so much power, it'll spray the bark off trees, knock stuff down, so it could be ripping clothes off, rip the skins off of people. So our elected, when I say, can't say our elected because we wasn't allowed to vote. So the white folks elected these people into office, and their duty was to protect the people of color. Even if they couldn't vote, it was still their job to protect them. So instead of protecting them, because they wanted to make sure they didn't have the ability to vote, and they couldn't stop them from marching, they couldn't stop them from protesting, so they get the fire department and told the fire department to spray down teenagers and kids and having them, falling all down the ground, rolling all in the street, getting all skin all up. That was happening until, thankfully, what I like to be in the media, when they finally brought the news cameras there and showed what was going on. And then not only did the entire country see what was going on, the entire world was looking at this country claiming, hey, we're a Christian country and we are going around the world. We want democracy around the world, and we want to spread love and this. And then back home, they're spraying their own people, spraying their own children with water hose, and then seeking dogs, having dogs biting teenagers and, biting boys and girls just because they want to be treated equal. That's the country that we're living in. That is our history. That's just it. That's our history. But it's recent history. One of my main points, I think a lot of people think is so far behind that it's not. It's still here. So when people watch the news today, 2025, when they see a lot of the things that these kids fought for, civil rights, and like I said, dogs chewing on their arms, chewing on their legs, just ripping them up and killing the lynchings, all that they went through to just get civil rights or equal rights, and then to see a lot of those rights are being attacked here in it's not even 2025. That's why a lot of people are upset. Imagine if people are still alive, people who were attacked by the dogs, people that was sprayed by the water hose, just to be able to get the right to vote. Those people are still alive. So they are seeing their work being, taken away, their rights and stuff being taken away. it's basically did all that for the future, for the following generation, for us, the people who are living now. Okay, so that's explain the Jim Crow laws. So that points us to where another point we was talking about um, Ruby Bridges. Like I said, so the schools were segregated, the restaurants, the buses, the trains. Like you get on a train, person of color, you got to go to the back. I know a story like my great grandmother. I think early when I was growing up, I think I was told that she was Native American. Then later on, we was told that she wasn't Native American. She was white. I don't know, her percentage, but anyway, she was considered white. She didn't have to pass. So sometimes like people were light skinned. I don't know. It's another movie about showing you what they mean by passing. And some people, you hear different movies and stuff, you say she tried to pass or she did pass, and what that means, like a light skinned person that looks white and could pass as being white, and they go into that living as being white or pass as being white, living with the white privilege. And it was one of those movies, Sharice. It was that movie. I forget it. It's another movie showing how it was the black mom. I think she had a white dad, but the girl came out looking white, so she was passing as white, had a white boyfriend, and then he found out that she was black. He beat her up, half killed her. But anyway, yeah, it was a lot of that going on. But yeah, so the transportation, most people didn't have cars, so they had to, especially when up north into cities, the only way to get around, you had to ride a train or ride buses. So they had, even in the north, they had to segregate. So it was like, okay, yeah, we in America, we supposed to be in the land of the free, but only the white people, we're giving y'all special privileges. Y'all can sit up front, and the blacks got to sit in the back. If there's no rooms, the blacks got to get out the way and give it a seat to white people. That was the law of the land, and especially our people, had to resist resist putting up with that. So that was where, but we talked about Rosa Parks, but the schools were segregated, so they passed a law to integrate the school system. So I mentioned Miss Ruby Bridges last night. So I want to play this video of Miss Ruby Bridges, and so what she went through as the very first American of African descent, African American, going to an all white school. So they was, like I said, it was all white schools, then all black schools that hardly had any money, anything. And the same thing with the colleges. That's where historical black colleges came from, because people of color were not allowed to go to the colleges. So they had to make black colleges. And a lot of people don't understand that. I've seen white people, why come they got HBCUs, colleges? Why come they got HBCU? Because we couldn't go to the regular white college. We had to make our own. That's why they're here. If it was equal, there would be no such thing as HBCU. And now they're getting upset why they got HBCUs and why we got to fund the HBCUs. And a lot of even just trying to get into regular schools is difficult. So it's a lot of people still don't want people of color educated. So we still need the HBCUs. But anyway, okay, here we go. I'm gonna play this. What happened to Miss Ruby Bridges? Let me see where this gonna pop. I know I should click the button while I'm still talking, so give the computer some time to catch up with me. Come on, where you at?
So the little black girl in this picture being escorted by U.S. Marshals is Ruby Bridges. Today is November.
Back up. There we go. Miss Ruby Bridges.
So the little black girl in this picture being escorted by U.S. Marshals is Ruby Bridges. The date is November 14th, 1960, and it's her very first day of school. The first grade at William Frantz Elementary School. You see, what Ruby didn't even understand as she walked through those doors was that she was the very first black student to integrate an all-white school segregated in the Deep South. Ruby had to be escorted by U.S. Marshals because there was an angry mob of white parents that protested her presence in the school with their children. What's funny is that she wasn't even scared. In her little innocent 6-year-old mind, she thought that all these yelling, hollering, screaming, angry people were a part of a Mardi Gras parade.
Thought that I had ventured into a parade, and so I wasn't afraid at all.
She had no idea it had anything to do with her. A lot of people don't truly know what happened after she got inside the school.
The minute I got into the building, they took me to the principal's office. And all of the crowd that was outside, they immediately rushed in behind me. And they started to run into every class, and they took every child out of school.
Every single last one of them. So on her second day of school, she was placed alone in the classroom with the teacher, Barbara Henry.
That entire year I spent in the classroom alone with a single teacher because teachers quit their jobs. They didn't want to teach black kids.
Every day that Ruby walked into that school, she had to be escorted by marshals because there were threats and racial slurs being yelled at her from a crowd every single day. And on one especially disgusting encounter, she's greeted by a protester holding a black doll inside of a coffin. A 6-year-old little girl, barred from the cafeteria. She couldn't play outside, and she had to have the marshals escort her to the bathroom anytime she needed to use it. And yet, Ruby didn't miss a single day of school that year.
She didn't miss a single day of school that year. That is powerful just to hear that. So you see, there's a lot going on. 6 years old, she's the first one to integrate the school system. 6 years old. Yeah, again, she didn't know what was going on, and I was wrong. So I like to correct myself if I'm wrong. Oh, I see some comments over here. I'm sorry, I didn't have the button push it. I'm gonna come back to that. I thought imitation of life. Imitate. Thanks, Billy Bob. Imitation of life. Imitation of life. That movie about what the daughter would pass as white. But so, and Billy, if you can jump in, if you have any stories of integration, I like to mess with Billy. Billy was around a long time. He's been around a long time. But yeah, she was 6 years old. So that means she's now today. That means she's in her 60s, right? If you do the math, she's in her 60s. So that means a lot of the people who were yelling and screaming at her and going off on her and all of that, they are still alive. They are still here. Those people are still here. Those people, a lot of them have the same beliefs. What's going on, Terry? A lot of those people are still alive. They still have the same beliefs. They still have their children to with the same belief that the parents had. The children have. Some have changed. A lot are still the same. So that's why, anyway, why we're having a discussion that this fight, this battle is still going on. It's like it didn't just go away. And I think some people feels like, yeah, everything just went away. And we should just live in harmony and peace. And I'm going to go ahead and pop up Terry's copyright fair use. Thank you for that, sir. All right. And Mr. Billy, if you still up here, you got some stories to tell of how if you went through any integration. I believe my dad and stepdad had to go through it, and the school that I went to, I saw residues from it. What I mean by that is, it was bloody. To hear the stories, tell you about it, where the whites didn't want the blacks to come to their school, and then so the blacks, okay, that's how y'all want to feel. We don't want to go to your school either. So it was lots and lots of fights. But my school was a griffon. So if you know what a griffon is half lion and half eagle. So if I'm not mistaken, and if I know about it from my old school, it was those two schools, the Lions and the Eagles, two separate schools, brought those two schools together. So it was a mythical creature already called a griffon. So I believe that's how we became the Griffons. I say we. Thankfully, I didn't have to go through that battle. And a lot of people they did not like that. They didn't appreciate that at all. And guess what? The school systems are still going through similar situation right now. So I think a lot of things what they're I don't know if you heard, the Department of Education has been threatened to be shut down. So that'll shut down all the school systems. I have no idea what could possibly happen when that happens. Another thing that's happening in Florida is basically, I think they call them vouchers. So basically, so they have a lot of so that you got the public school, and you have the private schools, and then you have the I almost had that word. Now I know it's got the homeschooling, but Sharice, what's that other word for those schools that they're building up all over the place? Lord, somebody tell me what word I'm trying to say. But anyway, they're building up all these different schools, and it's basically taking money away from the public school, the public education, and it's putting money in those other schools. So yeah, does that sound good? I was just saying, hey, you keep taking money away, the public school is going to end up getting shut down anyway. So I'm like, we might as well shut them down and open them up the next summer as a charter. That's the word I was looking for, a charter school. So they're taking money from the public school, giving to private school and charter schools. I just saw someone talking about in Texas where they're taking money from. Well, they passed a law to where you don't have to go to the public school. You can go to the different schools. You can go to private schools. So here's the catch. The people with the money, they're already paying the money for the children to go to a private school, so they don't go to the public school. So now they're passing a law to where, let's say a private school costs $20,000 a year for a child to go. So now the government or whatever in Texas, let's say, okay, yeah, let's pass a law. So now so anybody want to go to private school, you can take money. You can take $10,000, go to the private school. So now you're taking $10,000. That $10,000 would be taken away from the public school, and you can use it at the private school. But multiple problems. One of them is the private school don't have to let anybody in. If they don't like you, they don't like your skin color, they don't like where your mama worked, they don't like where your daddy worked, they don't have to let you in. So we're getting right back to where we fought to get away from. Then the other part is the private school costs $20,000. If private school costs $20,000 and the school system is giving you $10,000, if you don't have the money, where you can get the other $10,000 from? So you're stuck. You got to go right back to where they taking all the funding from. But anyway, yeah, I just want to talk about. So a lot of people, they don't understand what's going on with the school systems, and they're saying basically people of color are just complaining about something that's really not happening, but it is stuff happening. So it is a reason why the Department of Education is been attacked. So it's a way. To me, I don't know the full story, but it seems like to me they try to take it back to where it used to be. Let's make it back segregated again. Let's have the whites over here, and let's put all the funding that we want to over one side, and all the poor and blacks, we just put y'all over here, and we're not going to fund it. You got to fend it for yourself. That's just me, my 2 cents, the way it looked, the way I think it was what's happening. Okay, so we talked about Miss Ruby Bridges, and then I just saw, and I don't know why I'm like 2 years late. I know I want to talk about some stuff positive, but I guess it's some of these sad stories. Get the sad stories out of the way. Y'all know the story of Emmett Till. Uh, Emmett Till was a teenager from the North. I believe it was in Chicago, and I watched the movie. And I actually, yeah, we saw that the way his body looks. I think they got a display in the African American Museum up in DC. But Emmett Till was a teen from, again, I think it was Chicago, and he, a lot of times people up north would go down to the South to visit their relatives in the South. So he went down to Mississippi to visit his cousins and stuff. And basically, it's different. It's a different world between the South, the North, and the South. Yes, Cherie said, yeah, you see him in his casket. So Emmett went to Alabama, Mississippi, and again, y'all, when I say stuff wrong, I don't mind y'all correcting me. I'm fine with that. Tell me when I say something wrong, correct me. So went to Mississippi, and as far as the way the story goes, he just went to the store, and I really tell you 100% what happened, but basically he really didn't do anything to cause any harm. Either he looked at a white lady, he said something. I don't think it was what they said, that he was flirting with her. He's 14-year-old boy, and he wasn't that type of. He wasn't that crazy. He know how the South was. So anyway, she said, and I think Sharice, correct me if I'm wrong again, the lady who accused him said that he didn't do what she said. Right, I think she just passed away recently. Real quick, I'm gonna see what Billy saying about him in school real quick. We had hand-me-down books that the white kids had. So what you're saying is, like, after they finished using the books and it was time for them to get new books, that's when y'all they sent y'all the books. But yeah, so yeah, it's a video of the lady who accused Emmett Till. I believe they're saying that she said that he didn't do what he was accused of. But if in the story, she went and told her husband. Her husband went and told all the white dudes around the area. I'm paraphrasing the story. And they went to his house one night and drug him out the house. And the family never saw him alive again. According to, oh yes, they said they knew she lied, but they never charged her. They said they had to hit. They drug him. Pretty much, they drug him behind the truck and just mutilated his body. And his mother had his body shipped back up, I think, Chicago, and they wanted her to have a closed casket, but she refused. She wanted the world to see what was done to her 14-year-old son, and pretty much over a lie. There was a lot of people of color getting hung throughout the South. I know they got some memorials and everything. If anybody know the statement of picnic, I don't like saying that, but picnic is really when some racist people decided, hey, we can go and eat, but we're going to pick a Negro to hang. And while we hanging them, that's the entertainment. While they sitting out there after Sunday, having Sunday dinner, it was Saturday getting ready to go to church, or either after church, they were I'm sorry. Yeah, so they would pick someone to hang. That was the entertainment. So they would bring their family. The men would bring their entire wife, the children, and they would all participate. And we're not participate, just watch. That was entertainment to watch it happen. And that was all throughout the South. So that's the statement of picnic comes from. So I'm gonna go to my next video. This is doing a whole lot of talking. Y'all still need to jump on in. The reason why I brought up Emmett Till is because they made a statue for Emmett Till, and I thought it was new, but I'm sad to say it was 2 years ago, and I just now found out about it. So, just a little refresher of what happened with his mother. This is the funeral, and then I want to show you reason. Like I said, a lot of this history is like a lot of this stuff not only in the past, it is happening. 1 second, back that up. Open up. I'm gonna mute my. Go ahead and add the stage. Whoop.
At a church on the south side of Chicago, Emmett
Sorry about that. I mute myself. I'm gonna should have did this. If anybody would like to join in with the conversation, I'm putting a link in the chat. Paste. But I just, if you haven't seen the movie, please watch the movie. Not to build up in anger. So I watched it and studied and learned this. It's not making me any more angry. I just, again, it's like we like to know what's going on. That's what happened. Teach me the history, and again, so everybody need to learn the history so we won't repeat it. When we see stuff like this starting to creep up, you can detect it, recognize it, like have your discernment, and do something about it. Oh, hit send. Okay. And Billy was like, some of the books that they would get a lot of pages was missing out, and I can imagine you just after the kids had probably spent a couple of years using the books, and now we just ship them all over to the black folk school, and anyway, they get new books. Okay, so my next one. Okay, now the statue. Like I said, I should have known about this statue 2 years ago, but late than never. Just a second again. This thing just. Where my mouse at? Here we go. At the stage.
means everything because I
I'm gonna back it up.
and I saw the action.
Okay, we know that's a trip I got to make to get over there and see that statue of Emmett Till. All these years later, he finally something to honor, bring him honor of that tragic what he went through. All righty. So I think I hit. Oh, we had a question last night. We had a question. I brought up a subject saying that people of color own slaves. And so I'm gonna do this. Take this, slide it over here. Do 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 do. How many blacks uh-oh, let's got to go back to the home. And I'm gonna share screen and yeesh, I can't read that. Can y'all read that? I can't read that. Let me see. Do 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 do. Can y'all see this? Zoom in, slide over. I said slide over. Slide over. Zoom in. There it is. In 1830, 3,776 black people in the United States owned 12,907 slaves. So it's way more than what I thought. But yes, it was a law of the land. This was during majorly in the middle of slavery, but still people of color still had ways to own slaves, and they sell a lot of them. Well, you see here in Louisiana, South Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland. I was wrong again with that. I thought it was just up in the north. I didn't know there was in the south also own the slaves. But we see here a lot of them. Not only did they have slaves, but some of them they bought them to be able to free their family members. But still, there's other ones they probably ran their own plantation, ran their own farm, and had slaves. And they also right here, some people bought slaves to exploit them. The same thing that the white people was doing to them, the black people was doing to them, or some of them they might have been treating them nice. I don't know. But the point is, black people own slaves also. Again, is that something to get mad about? People like mad at white people for owning slaves. Black people own slaves too. Probably even other. I don't know. It might have been some Native Americans somewhere owning some slaves. It's hard for me to believe that, but it might have been. But I know a lot of natives and a lot of blacks got together. They worked together, but at the same time, they still could have been. Well, I don't know if they probably didn't have the same right. So see, some blacks were able to have certain rights where the natives probably didn't. So I don't know. That's something else to dig into. Okay, and my okay. So any questions about that? I know we was talking about somebody about the blacks owning slaves. But yeah, it happened. It happened. It was a law. So a lot of people talk about different laws. The different laws that need to be changed. And there's some laws like, okay, since slavery was legal, does that still make it right? Do you still supposed to obey the law of the land and go get you some slaves? It's certain laws. They should be changed, even just to be able to get the civil rights. I mean that's still recent. That's why I cannot emphasize how recent it is of just being able to get civil rights. And I like this picture here. See if I can find it real quick. It's just like it's education purposes only. That's all we doing. So right here, I want to show this picture. And an image. Bring this image. Man. Oh my goodness. This image right here. Come on. Y'all could talk to me out there. Something. Oh my goodness. Come on. Amazon, why are you gonna do me like that? Okay. Can I slide this over? There we go. Right here. Here we go. Sorry. This picture right here, it shows you when slavery started. It's in 1865. That was 246 years. Talking about something being ingrained to it in a country. It was 246 years. That's just the way it was. Slavery was the law. And then we had to fight to be freed. We could have just sat around and doing nothing. You remember we talked about the other day? Abolitionists, how you say that word? White folks. Some of the white folks were the first ones to start protesting and going against slavery. And it took a fight to go against the laws of the land for slaves to be free. It was actually a whole civil war. So from 1865 to 1954, like I said, 1954 is not a long time ago. That was 89 years. 89 years, almost 100 years of the law of racism and segregation. It was the law for racism and segregation. I'm going to say it again. It was the United States of America government state and federal and local law was segregation and racism. That was a law. And the not people of color, you saw the Jim Crow laws. People of color can't get a job, can't get a house, redlining. You can't buy houses in certain neighborhoods. You couldn't get certain jobs. You had to be segregated in the military. You're going to fight for your country. You're going to die for your country in other countries around the world. And you fighting for their freedom in other countries. And you come back home, you ain't trash. You get spit on and beat up and killed just because of your skin color. That's our country. So 1954 until now, look how small that green part is. How small that green part is. And a lot of the laws now, you might as well be saying that it's turning back yellow again. That's what's going on. So a lot of people don't like, what's all this fuss about? What's all this uproar about? Because this green here is people are attacking it to turn it yellow. That's what the problem is. All right. Did anybody, y'all remember this little kid called Kid President? Y'all remember Kid President? I think it's Kid. Yeah, Kid President. He used to make me feel so good and happy and make me laugh. So I wanted to bring up Kid President. Let me see if his video will start. Let's see. Kid President got to be kind of old at this point. I need to look him up, see what happened to Kid President.
Hello, everybody. People of the world, I want to talk today about dreams. In one of my other videos, I shared a quote about dreaming. Don't stop believing. Unless your dreams sleep. Then you should get a better dream. And I stand by. I hope you're out there with a great dream. Because what if we lived in a world without dreams? What about that dude in Ben Pringle? What if you ever seen a tennis ball can and thought, I should put chips in that? What the dude in the deodorant didn't say, you know? Maybe we don't have to smell like ponies. What Christopher Columbus said, maybe I should stay home and watch Netflix. A world with no dreams, that would be a world of no airplanes, no buildings, no tacos. No one saying things can be better. Things don't have to be like they are. Thank you to grown-ups out there who keep dreaming. You shouldn't grow out of that. 50 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood in front of thousands of people and he shared a dream. A dream that the poor would be taken care of. A dream that character, not color, would matter. A dream that the future could be better. And guys, a few weeks ago, I got to stand where Martin Luther King Jr. stood. It was a huge honor. One of the hugest honors ever for me. I was worried what I was going to say, but this is what I said. I wasn't here 50 years ago, but I hope to be in the next 50 years. Because, well, I wasn't here 50 years ago. But then I said, we all have a duty to make sure the world keeps dreaming of better things. Keep dreaming, keep dreaming, keep dreaming. Here's to all you dreamers out there. What's your dream for the world? Let me know. Comment below or share your thoughts on Twitter. Whatever you want to say, keep dreaming. You're giving all of us a reason to dare. Dream on, dreamers. By the way, Kid President started out by a dream. My big bro and I wanted to make something fun together. If you want to see a story how this all started, click over here. But if you want to see last week's video, click over there. If you don't want to fly, choose your own adventure. Go back and subscribe.
That is Kid President. I don't know if y'all ever seen him before. Like I said, I know he's got to be grown at this point. But go check out Kid President. Go ahead and check it out. He's got a lot of videos, a lot of educational videos, not only for for kids. You and adults could get something out of that. Um, Cherie, she said trying to go back. Oh, you're talking about DC? Have y'all been there? Who's been to the African American, the National African American Museum up in DC? If you haven't, you've got to go. And again, I don't know. I keep saying African American. It's still that's American history. All this history, all this stuff that we're talking about is still American history. Um, I've been there twice. Was it two, either 2 or 3 times. But basically, it's so big. You need to spend at least 2 or 3 days there, or it minimum 3 days. That's what I would recommend. So you can go in and just take your time. But Miss Sharice ate it. They got a restaurant on the inside too. Just take your time. Start. Can't say start on the first floor because there's a basement. You got to. I think you go down to the basement, start the basement, and work your way up. So it starts. I think it starts back before slavery in the bottom floors, and then as history goes along, it gets more modern the higher the floors that you go up on. And I think a lot of the modern stuff that we can recognize today is on the top floors. But a lot of times I made it to the top floors, but I was kind of rushing by the time I got to them. So yeah, Sharice said she never made it upstairs. But I went to all the floors. But if you really just stop and read and look at all the display and take it all in, you really can't do it in a day. They got the sit-in counters. They got to sit in and see the counters. I think there's a Harriet Tubman statue. I constantly continue to learn. I'm gonna throw this question out there. Do anybody know why Harriet Tubman carried a gun? Does anybody know why Harriet Tubman carried a gun? That's something I just learned this week or last week. Anybody know? And I just remember we was talking about segregated school. I just found my picture of my mama, her high school graduation picture. That's my mama. And then when she graduated, she went back and became a teacher. But does anybody know why Harriet Tubman carried a gun? Oh, we got but 10 seconds. And y'all got computers probably in hand. You can look. I don't know if that'll tell you. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Sharice said protection. Sharice said protection. No, that's not the answer. Because if she had to fight, if she had to have a shootout, they all would have got killed. So no, she didn't have the gun. She to protection because they would have killed her and everybody with them. The reason why Miss Harriet Tubman had a gun is for the slave that she was trying to free. Then you say, what? Okay. Some of these people were hard to let go of, being a slave. It was hard to let go and leave. So dead men tell no lie. Dead men tell no secrets. I think that's how he said. Dead men tell no secrets. I think that's what they said. She said. Why is that? Because some of them wanted to go back. Some wanted to turn and run back, go back to the plantation. She couldn't let that happen. They would have got caught, would have been tortured, and they would have told everything about the Underground Railroad. So the gun wasn't for protection. The gun was to shoot the slaves who wanted to go back. I know that it's rough to hear. It was to keep anybody that wanted to go back and get caught and tell about the Underground Railroad, tell about what was going on, tell about all the people getting free. You either going to continue to move forward or get shot trying to go back. That's why she had the gun. Think about some people who want to keep going back, want to keep turning back, want to keep looking back. It's time to move forward. It's time to continue to move forward. It's time to make things great once and for all. All right. So I pray everybody have a good evening. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Until next time, give me some more subjects. I think this Tuesday, I'm trying to go. I'm going to have a living legend this coming Tuesday at 3:00. And I'm trying again at Thursday. But anyway, stay tuned. It's very fluid about the different guests and everything. But anyway, thank you for your time. Everybody, have a good night. Oh, we got Super Bowl tomorrow. Yep, Super Bowl. Some people protesting. Some people are boycotting. I don't know. But all I say is pray for our country and pray for the world. God bless America. God bless the USA. Wait a minute. I said that wrong. God bless America. It was a movie. Somebody said, God bless America and God bless everybody else too. As long as everybody else is blessed, they ain't got to worry about coming and attacking you. So God bless America. God bless everybody. All right. I'm shutting up now. Until next time, Lejo out.